intro music? Yeah! Woohoo!
Hey Star Trek Fleet Command fans, today I want to talk about the Ransom Leaderboard. Why was it set up the way that it was? Because very clearly, for those who have been participating in recent months, we've argued very strongly for, hey, if you're going to do these SMSs and these heroics, you need to set them up in a way that we enjoy as well as you enjoy. It was kind of like a 50-50 exchange. I mean, most players aren't sitting out there going, yes, I want a heroic SMS, but a heroic SMS that pays out an entire officer, well, it clearly has more value, right? And in this video, I want to explain why that's not the case and why, if you decide to keep your pitchforks and torches lit, that's completely up to you. But it's certainly not one of those oopsie moments. Now, to be very clear, Copley and the Overlord said that they will review everything today being Monday, that I'm going ahead and repeating this. I don't know why the game keeps glitching out, but it also is Star Trek Fleet Command. Let me just go ahead and click the leaderboard real quick. So, they said they're going to review today because we pushed them really strongly. Myself, Ultimate DJ, really give credit to the moderators. They were the first ones on the boat on this one about how the milestones were simply too high. And the argument was either lower the milestones or, as we've been doing, give a full unlock to the officer. They opted to do neither. They said that they are going to sit and wait, and they're going to see what happens on Monday. And what that typically translates to is they're going to see what the public opinion and player opinion is and how much participation was there. So let's talk about why this was set up the way that it is, because make no mistake, this was intentional. Like, this wasn't just a random oopsie. This was we value strongly these new officers in the game. Now, why do they value these new officers in the game? Well, we kind of covered that a little bit in the launch video, but for the purposes of how it's influencing SMSs and stuff, it's pretty important to cover this. So the first thing that is kind of like, I think, relevant to mention is understanding the tactics of what these new officers are. These three new officers are meant to completely reset the PvP meta. Meta being the most effective tactic available. Wants to change the game similar to how strike teams did right at a year ago. Why are you jumping back now? Now, what they've done is what any good dealer does is give you just a taste, where if you spend $20 this month, you're going to get Carol Freeman, arguably the best of the three, but all three are honestly really good, especially at max tier. Hence all these screenshots you see floating around. You're going to taste and get her unlocked for $20 at the end of the month. Now, that's if you decide to spend $20. But beyond that, because the tier 1 Freeman good, not incredible, as you tier her up is where that ability really takes off and becomes extremely good. So let's actually look at those abilities real quick. So with Freeman, she is an exception because she does not synergize with strike team. She synergizes with lower decks, but she doesn't need any synergy to be effective. Her officer ability is if the player has any state, morale, simulated, etc., increases your isolated cascade damage by 60% for 1 round. Remember, isolated cascade is simply doing another set with isolated damage, and it literally says it right there, multiplies your total damage, including isolated damage and all the research and bonuses. So it's extremely powerful, as well as the captain's ability. PvP, more shots, and starts off at 100%. So this is an extremely powerful officer, but this, once it gets to tier 3, tier 4, etc., becomes simply unbeatable. Now, that's only one of the officers. Let's talk about Billups and Ransom. So Billups is going to be with the Interceptor Strike Team, lower deck ability. If on a battleship, has burning, increases your defense, but officer ability, if on an interceptor, increases your isolated cascade. So same thing that you're getting from the beautiful Miss Freeman, just on interceptor. And then you've got the Explorer version with our friend Jack Ransom. So he does the exact same thing, but on Explorers, where his below deck ability is then on an interceptor. So you can technically use all three on the same ship, depending on what you're doing, but the big abilities are there. Freeman having the extra shots makes her extra primo. But all that to say, they value these because they understand that they're completely resetting the game with them. Scopa didn't come into this and say, hey, we're going to design 3 new officers. I wonder how good they're going to be. They know exactly how good they're going to be. They had in the test servers showing isolated damage being 4 or 5 times greater than regular damage. They didn't get caught by surprise. So what you have to understand when you get into this event, the reason they changed it simply comes down to the value of these officers. Now, how can we also see that in another form? Cool. Let's actually take a look at actual packs in the game. I know, actual packs. Yay. The Elite Cerritos Strong Pack, for example, will give you 10 Carol Freeman shards and 2,000 Command Conference invitations, as well as some Latinum. Now, this is not expected for you to just straight buy 10 of these to unlock her, right? Because they're banking on the Command Conference invitation. But truthfully, what is happening is people are spending. I mean, there's 14 is the limit here. And we're going to talk about why 14 is important. But if you spend $100, what that ends up taking you to is the ability to do 8 turn-ins for 10 shards, with a 3-time chance for those 10 shards to be Carol Freeman. So if you look at the Unlock Strong right here, you're going to notice you get a few things. You're going to, one, you get these. We'll talk about those in a second. But you're going to get 80 shards per $100 spent. So if you had spent 14, that's going to be what? 1,120 total officer shards right here. Mix of rares and epics. So you see where it's mathing out real quick? But these are only ones, right? So even if you did 11,000, you're going to fall a bit short. But you get the Captain Freeman trophy, which is 100, which you come right over here. And once you get 4,800 of these, you get a full unlock and a frame. And an avatar. Definitely more important than a frame. Oh, gosh. As you can see, a lot of money being expected here. And that doesn't count what you're expected to spend to win a leaderboard, right? Because generally, you can't save up enough without significant time to free-to-play win a leaderboard. You're going to spend money to get the materials, etc. needed, whether you do it for this specific leaderboard or whether you did it 2 weeks ago. You spent money to be able to win these. You see, I scored 21 million points in my bracket, and I came in 12th, whereas the top player scored almost double what I did. And that's not shaming Armor of God in any way. Shout out to Chaos for their player winning the bracket. The point being is that the hope was that the value of this bracket is driven up by 1, the officers themselves, and 2, the heroic SMS not providing a full payout, thus further guaranteeing that the officer that they deem as having extreme value is going to be very difficult to unlock without spending a lot of moolah. So short answer is this. The reason it's set up that it is they are hoping to have these very high value officers have a high premium price tag. You're not having players just max out their epics through winning. You know, we had like the 7 of 9 where we had 3 straight 7 of 9 ones. You have people who already have tier 4 7 of 9. Well, that's not the goal here for them. Their goal is to have limited people with a limited set, spent a high amount to get it, and even if they did get the taste one, the Carol Freeman one, because I've seen a lot of people say, well, you got Carol Freeman, you don't need the others. Okay, so the way that they work and how they work and math out, extremely valuable officers, and tier 1 Carol Freeman is just that taste, right? It's giving you enough to make you want to have the set and get that particular one better. But if you really want to be better, you're going to be dropping lots of moolah. Hence the LB and the SMS being more difficult than in times past. So now you know if you didn't know, and we'll see if they end up making any changes, because they did say that they would review the situation on Monday. And hey, maybe they have a little bit of, hey, you know what? Give the players something. And maybe they're a little generous. We'll see. I don't know. But I will say that there's a pretty clear path clear design path of why this is the way that it is, right? It's very similar to when Jean-Luc Picard came out all those years ago in Star Trek Fleet Command, and Jean-Luc Picard had like a $1,000 payment. Like if you wanted Jean-Luc Picard, who was nothing more than a beefed up version of Pike, a PvE officer, you spent a lot of money to go through that process. Some characters just simply have a premium more, and whereas it's not a standard where a rare is $50 and an epic is $100. Some epics are worth more than other epics. You can kind of see that here. And in this argument, you actually see them saying that these PvP officers are worth a heck of a lot more than 7 of 9 was. And then it's kind of up to you to decide if that's the case. But anyway, hopefully this fills you in, gives you all the information you need of why. And if you want to have some outcry about it, well, there's one place that you can cry that will always get you a pat on the back, little rubs, a little empathy. My comment section. Happy to hear out what you say and pass along any feedback you have to give. But I do want y'all to know that this was intended and that there was not a break or a problem. If they choose to, turn around from that, that's awesome. But that's why. Deuces. That's me. Live long and plunder, ladies and gentlemen. Go hit some OPC and token space. I love it. Helps me get my mining done for the entire week in one night. It's fantastic.
An even better outro than the intro. for the Empire and glory to your house.